Hello, everybody, and welcome to Command Point. Before we get into the tier list, quick shout out to the fact that we have merch. We've already advertised our merch once or twice, but just a reminder that if you go to our link in the description for the website, I don't remember the exact name, but it's in the description, and we have T-shirts, which I'm wearing right now, and they're really comfortable. We also have crew necks, hoodies, a sticker, and a mug. Ryan, we have a
Yeah,
mug.
we love mugs.
So go on over there, check that out, and then if you do buy something, send us a picture of it, of like you wearing it or something, and show off your merch, and we'll give you a shout. So anyway, Ryan, what are we doing today?
So today we're doing everyone's favorite. We are doing another tier list. So New Balance data slate dropped and everything. It's been a little while. We've had some room to breathe. We've had some new tournament results come in. So now I think is as good a time as any as to do another tier list and see where the meta is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do we want to start? So first of all, actually, we have the 5 tiers here. I guess technically 6. At the very bottom, we have Shadow Realm, which is Compendium. It's Compendium.
It's just compendium teams.
Yes. We're not going to talk about Compendium. Sorry, guys. But if you're interested in Craft World, there was an article that came out like
Today, I
today.
think. Yeah.
Not when this releases, but when we were recording. So I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know.
recording on
Um,
April 28th right now.
yeah, and there was a video. There's an article on Goonhammer about Craft World, written by Travis Chang of the Brooklyn crew over there. So go check that out. But otherwise, we don't have anything else to say about Compendium. We've got S, which is our for us that's top of the meta. A, which is above the curve. So maybe not perfectly balanced. Maybe could use like a little bump down, but not quite the best teams. We have B, which is perfectly balanced. B for balanced. We have C, which is mid, very mid.
Mid
Uh,
AF.
which is funny because ironically it's mid, but it's not mid. It's below mid. It's below the middle, but it's everybody knows what mid means. And then we have D, which is kind of bad. We don't have an F tier because I don't think there's a bespoke team that is truly awful. So until there is another truly awful bespoke team, we'll be putting the F tier away. But for now, Ryan, do you want to get into it? Where are we
Sure.
starting?
So, I guess we can just start with Vetguard. They're first on our list here. So,
Ooh.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you have been having not issues with Vetguard, but like you literally won your first game against Vetguard fairly recently at the
Yeah, in
tournament in
tournament play.
Toronto. There are problems still in open board and in on Into the Dark board, so I'm gonna say they are easily above the curve.
So I think that I'm going to make an argument. All right, I'm going to make the case. I think Vetguard is top of the meta right now.
Okay.
So like, I think all the thing. I think they're already really good. Like, I don't think they were ever not good. I think people just like there was the grenade nerf, and then people kind of just dropped them. Like the top players for the most part dropped them.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was like the attention was focused away from Vetguard, and all the thing like they've quietly been really good the whole time. Like that hasn't changed at all.
Okay.
And I think with the nerfs to breachers and the nerfs to star striders and the nerfs to damage reduction and all these other things and all these things that were above them getting nerfed, I can't think of anything when I look at Vetguard that they are missing to be
Okay.
like the best team. Um, and I don't know if like in 3 months they're going to have the best win rate or if they're going to have the the most tournament wins or whatever. But I think they have the tools to just like they're missing almost nothing. The only thing I could feasibly think of is they only have access to security, which isn't
Yeah.
amazing. But like also on the other hand, they have an amazing faction tack up with I stand fast the hold two hold more one.
Yeah.
And they are like extremely well suited for security for what it's worth. Seize ground is still easy, so that's like two easy ones. And then as long as you can get one other one that is right for the map or the matchup, they're fine on Tech Ops, and then they have like a ridiculous amount of bodies and a ridiculous amount of threats and models that are just like outdated with how good they are. Like you can see like the designs of some of the specialists that have come out in like the past year, where it's
Uh-huh.
similar in
It's
idea
similar,
to
but
some.
like just like a little bit like worse, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of shows their like that the design space has moved away from like how strong Vet Guard actually is.
Yeah.
So I think they're S tier right now. I don't know if that's just me, but I'm really high on them.
Okay. Um,
Have I
y-
convinced you?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
so like
I've only got
I
a
mean,
few teams in my mind
we literally have
that are S
no other teams like out on the
tier.
board
I
right
know.
now. So I'm gonna say let's temper it a little bit because they are kind of fragile, right? That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
I can see like a team like Legionnaires or Intercession being able to deal with the team. So I would let's keep them at top of A right now.
Okay.
Next up we've got the Orc Commandos. So Orc Commandos recently got buffed in the latest
Mhm.
data slate. They've put up a bunch of like top tournament placings recently. Um, at the very least, I think that's indicative of them being above. I actually don't know if they're above the curve.
I don't think so
I think
either. I
they
think
might
they're
be
actually.
perfectly balanced.
That's what I was gonna say. I
Yeah,
actually think orcs are like in the perfect spot right now.
I was thinking about
And
this last
go
night.
ahead.
Yeah, so like the recent buff they got, it was you can take the commando grot or the bomb squig for free, and you get or you take one of those and then you get the other one for free or vice versa, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is with that is I can definitely see on some boards, on some terrain layouts at some tournaments, you don't necessarily want to take the bomb squig even if it's free. So I don't know. I mean,
Here's
like,
my thought on
yeah,
that. 'Cause
yeah,
I got to play Commandos the other night at
yeah.
the LGS, and it's the first time I've played them probably in, like, over a year. Um, and I ran them with the Bomb Squig, it was open board, um, and I thought the same thing as you, but I've been thinking about it since then, and here's a thought. What if you always take the Bomb Squig? Because even if it's not like even if the board isn't super friendly for it, at the very, very least, it's you can put him out in the wide open, nowhere near your other models,
Okay,
and they can ignore it or shoot it or whatever, and it's
yeah,
nothing lost. But if they don't kill it, it's at the very least it's an 11th activation.
yeah. It's a threat. It's another activation that your team gets. Um, and like you said, if they do wind up like it's a tax. It's a tax
Yeah.
that you're putting on your opponent because they have to give up at least like one shooting activation in order to kill it
Mhm.
without inflicting damage to themselves. So
And if
yeah,
it does go off, it's pretty monstrous. It's
yeah.
actually such a
Oh
threat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience, as the Orc Commando player, when it goes off, it can wipe out half of your team turn one while you're still set up in the deployment zone. So yeah, I think they're a perfectly balanced team. It sounds like we're both in agreement on that one.
Yeah.
Next up we have got the Hunter Clade. I took
Ooh.
them to a recent tournament where you know I'm not as high on them as I once was. I thought they were top of the meta. I thought that because they managed to like basically like avoid getting like any real nerfs. Um, the team itself is still benefiting. Like they're still like at the height of their power, you know.
Mhm.
Um,
I Yeah, I think it's a similar thing to what I was saying with Vet Guard, where it's like I think they were already pretty good, and now all
yeah.
these things just got nerfed above them.
Hmm.
So, and I
Logically, they should move up, right?
yeah, I was a little bullish on them like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I would say they're an easy A tier for me.
Okay.
I don't think they're better than Vet Guard,
Okay.
obviously, because I think of Vet Guard as S tier. But
Yeah.
so I'd put them in A tier below Vet Guard. They just have like so many like things that can kill you. Like they just have like buzz saws and like like all over the board, and they're pretty fast when they need to be, and they're very flexible, which I
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, they've got
Um,
I don't know. I feel like the that flexibility, it comes at a cost of not being like hyper good. I don't know. I don't even want to say that because they can put out a crazy amount of damage
yeah.
with like the rust stalkers when you pop
Oh
the
yeah.
accelerated stimulants or whatever it is on them.
Yes. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when you run into like elite teams with them, specifically like Legionnaires or like even Intercession, if you get a Rust Stalker into one of those guys, even if you fight twice, like you're not guaranteed to kill that model, and you might actually wind up just losing your your Rust Stalker because they're not very durable. Despite having 10 wounds, the team itself is not very durable. So I think at most they're A tier. They don't
Yeah.
have that many activations as like some of the other teams on this list here too.
I like them at A tier. I think
Yeah.
that feels good.
All right. So next up, we have got Warp Coven. When was
Ooh.
the last time you've seen Warp Coven, Shane? I don't remember the last time anyone has talked, looked at, or had a tournament placing with them.
I've actually been talking to George a little bit about Warp Coven. George is
Yeah.
oust on the Discord. He's a big Warp Coven player. We had him on for the 12 Days of Kill team as the
Hmm.
Warp Coven guy. And he had a lot of cool thoughts on Warp Coven. I I don't think Warp Coven is great right now. I wouldn't put them in D tier. But like there's a lot of like different outlooks on how to play that team. Like especially since they've buffed like the Rubric Marine and like the Icon. So like a lot of people have been experimenting with like running them almost like an elite team basically.
Okay.
I don't think that's good. I think that's actually very bad.
Yeah.
And that's maybe a hot take because some people really like this. But I think that the Zangor, like more Zangors is the way to go. I
Okay.
don't think you can really afford to run this team with like 6 bodies with security. It just seems awful to me. That's bad. That would be D tier if that's all that this team was. But it's if you run them with the Zangors, they have access to recon, which is, as we know, it's just better.
Yeah.
They don't really have a good faction tac op, which hurts them. They like I don't know, like they're very weird, and they're hard to play and they're complicated. And even when mastered, I don't think that they yield the potential to be
They don't
like a
reward.
tournament winner.
Okay.
Yeah, I would put them in mid. I think
Okay.
they're a C tier team,
Okay.
and I think they need help. But I would be like careful with how you help them because I don't think they're that far from being good. And I think that like the people that were optimizing them kind of got tired of trying to optimize them and moved on to other
Yeah.
things.
It's like, oh, the team is solved. They just have a certain ceiling.
Maybe, yeah,
Okay.
maybe they're solved. I don't know. It's a tough call. I
Okay.
mean, very very good players run them. Like Brian Wilthong was a Warp Coven player, and he couldn't win any big tournaments with them, and that says a lot about Warp Coven to me.
Yeah.
So,
He did
yeah,
get close.
he has come close.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So next up, we have got the Sisters Novitiates.
Ooh,
Um,
and they're
yeah,
so funny. Isn't it weird to think that once upon a time you could take like 2 crack grenades and like 4 of those ceaseless things with this team? Like, how did anybody ever lose with that? It's just
that's
crazy to
so
me.
fair. I mean, hey, sometimes the crack grenades they just whiff. That's the thing. But with the
Well,
ceaseless,
not
they
when you're
don't.
playing
Yeah,
novitiates.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that
Nothing whiffs
was
when you're
that
playing
was
novitiates.
insane. I hate crack grenades so much. Still,
Yeah.
um,
So Novies are in that category with Vetguard and Hunterclade where
yeah,
they were never not good. They just got nerfed
hmm,
and people moved away from them, and now all the good things better than them got nerfed. So are they like insanely good again? I don't know.
we haven't seen any like results indicative of that, but I think
Yeah.
it is a safe bet to put them in A tier, and we can just move on.
Yeah, I think they're easily 8s here. Like there's still some things about that team that is just stupid.
Yeah,
Like if that team was made today, they'd hit on 4s. They would all
Oh
hit
my
on 4.
god.
There would be no 3-up ballistic skill on this team.
Yeah,
Like, you look at Kasserkin, whose whole thing is dice fixing, and because of that, they hit on 4s because that's
yeah.
balanced.
That's
And
their entire
Novitiate,
faction identity.
yeah, Novitiates is dice fixing, except it works in defense too, and they have good saves, and they have good ballistic skill. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just the
They're just
power
like,
of the faith in the Emperor, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah.
So next up is the
So I
oh,
put them
sorry.
above Metriclade.
Above Hunter Clade? Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna ask you that.
definitely.
My bad. Yeah. I still have them unbuilt, but I'm recently getting back into Sisters Novitiate, so maybe I'll build them up sometime soon.
They're so good.
Yeah. Okay, next up we've got the Pathfinders, the Tau Pathfinders.
Mhm.
They were S tier for it, just like the other 3 teams that we see in A tier, with the exception of like Hunter Clade for a little bit.
Yeah, they're a weird one, Pathfinders, because depending on who you ask,
It
they're either
feels it
underpowered or
yeah,
like still really good.
yeah.
Uh,
I feel like I have no opinion of this team. I would say I'm definitely not throwing them in perfectly balanced because that goes against everything about the team historically. I at least want to say above
yeah.
the curve, and I think just like, people have kind of moved on from this team.
So there's like things going on with this team. So first of all, I think if we're talking about just open board, I think that they are potentially still
Still
top
top
tier.
of the meta, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
potentially. I don't know if I'd say that for certain, but um, on Into the Dark, they're definitely a lot weaker than they are on open board. I
Okay.
think that the extent to which they're a lot weaker gets massively
It gets
overstated.
totally overblown, yeah.
I think they're still like playable on Into the Dark,
Mhm.
but like the thing is, I don't know. In the hands of a good player, Pathfinders are still pretty disgusting. I think that the nerfs have been really reasonable, um, and I kind of like where they are right now. I would say they're A tier, but like bottom of A tier, because I also don't want to put them in perfectly balanced.
I was I was gonna say after hearing what you just said, I would be fine with putting them in perfectly balanced
Ugh.
because it sounds
It's
like in a mixed. Hear me out here, because it sounds like on a mixed tournament format, right? Or a mixed board format at a tournament where you have Into the Dark boards and you have open boards. You got the open boards where you're going to perform really, really well on, and
mhm,
then you've got the Into the Dark boards where you can still like win games and do good. Uh, your team is just weaker on that type of board setup.
mhm.
That sounds pretty balanced to me.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you're playing them on open board, they're not going to feel perfectly balanced.
Okay.
Like you're not going to be playing against
Yeah.
Pathfinders on an open board and be like, "This team's balanced." Like if it's
Yeah.
a good player, like it's going
Yeah.
to feel
Okay.
tough. I don't
Okay.
know. That's just me. So
Sure.
I put them in A, but like
We'll put them
bottom
bottom
of
A.
A.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next up we've got the Wormblade. Um, dude, I have not played Wormblade in probably like a year.
Uh,
Against them, I mean. Um,
I don't know if I've played
so
as them in the past year.
yeah,
Actually, maybe once or
I don't think
twice.
you have because you ran him at KTO 2 years ago, and then you just like pretty much like cooled off on them after that.
It was 1 year ago. Well, a little over one
Yeah,
year ago.
it was
So
the first KTO. Yeah.
it was probably right around this time last year that I stopped playing them on like TTS because I was still playing them in tournaments online after KTO. And I don't know. It's weird because with Wormblade, they're like they kind of have this thing where they have like a horrible win rate and they never win anything for like 5 months, and then like one guy will like podium with them at a big event, and then people will forget for like a little bit that they've been performing terribly for a long time, and then the cycle repeats. It happened at LVO. Somebody placed top 3 or top 4, top 3, and then at they were bad for like 3 or 4 months, and then somebody placed top 3 at Adepticon, and they're going to be bad for a few more months, and then probably at like ACO or something, somebody will just do well with Wormblade again, and everybody will like ignore it. But I don't think the team is. I don't think they're balanced. I think they're under that, but I don't think they're bad either. They're
Okay.
just like kind of like hard to play optimally.
Okay.
And I have a lot of thoughts on how to play Wormblade personally, just because I have a lot of experience with them. And I think there's people that just like play them differently than I do.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm a big proponent of the Locust. I don't run the sniper nearly as often as some other people do. But I don't know. It's weird. I would like to see a Wormblade buff. If Wormblade got a little buff, I would play them a little bit again,
Mhm.
probably. But
So they're not bad, but they're
yeah, I
not
think they're
but
mid.
you think they're mid? Okay.
I think they're mid. I think they're better than Warp Coven,
I would
probably.
definitely say so. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that. That seems fair to me.
All right, so we have the Void Dancers here.
Okay, okay.
I don't know about the Void Dancers.
I think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, they had a really good win rate. Not that win rates are end all be all,
Yeah.
um, but they were a team that was doing pretty well. And then other teams got nerfed, and like the thing is, they like their matchups against like legionaries didn't get any better, and their matchups against intercession didn't get any better,
Right.
but their matchups against everything else kind of got better. Um,
Here's the
and
thing
they're
though. Both of those teams combined are like gonna be half of the meta at pretty much
sure.
any like decent sized tournament you go to.
Yeah,
Sorry to
that's true.
derail you.
No, you're right, and that's definitely something to consider. I like I fall into the category of void dancers are really good,
Okay.
and they're probably a high A tier team in my eyes,
Okay.
personally. But like, I don't know. It's like weird because they are like almost like a skew matchup for some teams where it's like if you're
Yeah.
playing Castrican and you run into void dancers, like good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Just like have fun. It's gonna be tough. Um, but like a lot of teams can deal with void dancers. And the other thing is void dancers like are also over like their win rate's always going to be a little bit better maybe than it should be at the top level because they're easy to play. So like the at the lower tables, like the win rate inflates a little bit
Okay.
because they're hard to play against if you're a new player, and they're easy to play as if you're a new player. That being said, I still think at the top level they're very very good. Um, so I'd say they're an A tier team.
Okay. Would you put them above or below Sisters Novitiates?
I put them above.
Put them above? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we got more elves. We have the Corsair Void Scarred. So this
Oh,
is a
Corsair.
team that I do not have a ton of experience playing, but I have played against them a decent amount. And in all the games that I've played against them where my opponent lost, it has been because they have no rerolls, they have no ways of fixing their dice when they roll bad. So it's really just kind of like all up in the air with this team. It can go either way. You can get absolutely blown out, or you can just absolutely stomp the Void Scars will get stomped, and there's like nothing that your opponent did wrong. So, uh, perfectly balanced.
Yeah, I think they're better than commandos.
Okay.
It's weird because sometimes they feel like they're too strong, and other times they feel like they're too weak.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. They're extremely fast.
Yeah, the
They,
movement and then like the utility and that 3-inch charge thing they can do is really good. Those are all
yeah,
really cool abilities. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what they have. They have tricks.
yeah. I'd say they're better than commandos though.
Okay. Next up we got your favorite chain. We got the Chaos
Ooh,
Legionnaires.
my boys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I think they're a high B tier team. So I think before the nerfs, they were A tier, floating close to S tier. And then like I don't know. The Nurgle nerf was pretty big. That's been my experience playing them. Is it feels like big when I play them.
Okay.
Um, and I still think they're like you can play them at a high level and do well, but it's going to be tough, especially against these horde teams. Like if you end up on the wrong setup on like open board or something, the game can just get really difficult. Um, so like I wouldn't. I don't know. I would struggle to put them in A tier, personally. But it does feel weird seeing them below Pathfinders, who I think they're probably
I
better
think they're
than.
better than Pathfinders. And I mean, like, recent tournament results are indicative of that.
Maybe they should be. Maybe Pathfinder should be in B tier. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Because the more I look at this, maybe Pathfinder should be in B tier, below Legionnaires.
Do you
And
think
above
that
Legionnaires.
Hunter Clade should be above Legionnaires? I don't
Maybe.
I I don't think so personally, but I think they're better. Shane,
Maybe.
I think I'm gonna put them in A tier. I think I'm gonna put the Legionnaires in A tier.
Legionnaires? Ugh, fine. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Let the record show I disagree.
Okay, that's why I'm not putting them uh
Hunter
above
Clay.
Hunter Clade is because this is a collaborative tier list.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Next up we've got Blooded. Yo, I just want to talk about Blooded for a second.
Yeah.
I love Blooded. I think they are an awesome team. I think they're a perfectly balanced team, and I think that this is a team that rewards skilled players, more so than most of the teams in the game. And
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't.
know if I'm out of pocket saying that. It's kind of a hot take, I feel, but like that's how I feel about this team.
I think you're right. My gut, like I almost want to disagree just because I hate playing against them. And they're so annoying to play against for
They
some
are,
reason.
yeah,
Ever since people like started playing well with them and like figured
yeah,
out how to properly run them,
yeah.
I can't stand playing against Blooded. But I don't think they're too good. It's like because I like their dice fixing. It always feels like it's better than it should be because like when you think about it, it's like you're shooting a plasma gun, you're hitting on fours, right?
Yep.
You get to retain a hit for
Okay.
free without rolling it. So basically, you're just rolling 3 4-ups, and it's like a coin flip on whether you get one hit or two hits. And it just feels like they always get two.
Yeah.
They always get above like the coin flip. I don't know, but they're good. They have so many bodies, and no matter how many times I play against Blooded, I can never remember what all their operatives do, and I have to like ask my opponent 30 times. Maybe I just suck against hordes. Maybe that's my problem. But yeah, I think if they're B, they're probably the best team in B.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're in agreement. Okay. So next up, this is kind of interesting, Shane. We've got the Phobos Marines.
Oh, I
You've been
love them.
experimenting with them a lot, and then stay tuned soon, guys, because we're actually going to be having a Phobos Strike Team. Is that what the name of the
Yeah.
team is? Yeah. So we're going to be doing the Phobos Strike Team as our next Kill Team deep dive, coming up on the Command Point podcast. So make sure to subscribe to the channel here so you don't miss out on that one. But yeah, Shane, tell us a little bit about the Phobos here and where you think they should fit on this tier list.
Let me just say, I think Phobos might be the most fun team in the game
Okay.
to play. They are so cool. And like when you are remembering their tricks and you're utilizing like their strengths and like not even utilizing, but like considering all their strengths, like as you're playing, and you saw the options that open up to you. They are so fun and they feel really rewarding to play. And I think the new buff was really good for them. Um, I love this team. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like they're hard to play for sure. They're not an easy team to pilot. Like they're an elite team that doesn't have like additional durability.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have they're not like super killy. Their offensive output is kind of mid. but they're fast. They're so fast, and they play the mission really well. And they've got like a crazy weird toolbox, and the way they deal with situations is so different from other elite teams that it is a major adjustment like period for me coming from Legionnaires playing them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're balanced, but
Okay.
I don't know. They're maybe on the lower end of balanced in my eyes, but like the ceiling I think is so high for this team that I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like somebody recently did pretty well at Adepticon, like fifth or something with them, and
Okay.
that was before the buff.
Right.
So like my gut says I think that somebody can take them to a high level and like outperform where we put them on this tier list.
Okay.
But I think they're B tier. I'd probably say low B tier, but like I don't know.
Would you put
Sometimes when I play
them?
them, they feel amazing, and other times it's like, oh yeah, that's right. It's just Phobos.
Okay.
So
Do we want them above or below Commandos?
I don't know. Let's go below Commandos.
Below Commandos? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a team that's just, they only have bolters pretty much, right?
Yeah, and it may, like if you take a crack grenade, but like this team
Yeah.
has such cool tricks and equipment. I don't even take a crack grenade with them when I play it. Like
Okay.
that's like
No,
I just run
because
smokes and stuff
I
and
was gonna bring up to all of the changes with like the damage reduction. Do you think that like heavily benefited this team, considering that they're all just
oh yeah.
like guys packing bolters?
Yep,
Okay.
100%. That's super accurate. And it's like they just like the speed of this team is just nuts. And like the one thing I've really come to love on open board is the marksman and like ignoring obscurity.
Yeah.
So like if you're playing on Octarius or something, and like a lot of maps, let's say they have like an oil rig in the middle that kind of like doesn't necessarily block visibility, but it'll 100% obscure
Yeah,
things
it's
that
a
are coming
giant
on the other.
obscuring heavy terrain piece. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the marksman, you use the Vanguard ploy, so he's only 2-inch climbing and he's dropping for free. And like you can put him on deployment and like on turn one, pop him up on a vantage point and shoot a guy that you have absolutely no business shooting because you technically see them and they're in light cover, but they're in a spot where they'd be obscured to everything on the board from deployment. And
Okay.
then you shoot them and kill them, and then you just pop back down, and your opponent's like, "Oh, I didn't think that was going to happen because
Because why would
they're
you? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah." And then Omni Scramble and just like all their stuff, they're just so cool. They're awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right, Shane. So next up, we've got the big chonker Marines.
Ooh, yeah.
We've got the intercession squad. So you've got your Space Marines with like all their fancy tricks that they can do and all that stuff. But I'm a guy who prefers two things: a stupid amount of durability and a tremendous amount of firepower. And both of these teams, or excuse me, this intercession squad team has both of those in boatloads, even
Yeah.
after like the durable trait got nerfed. As most of you guys know, I was not running durable at KTO, where I went 5-1. I was running rapid and methodical, which turns out, hey, that's the new way to run this team now, apparently.
Yeah.
And in the two games that I lost at KTO, I felt like had I just been a better pilot and had some more experience with this team, that I definitely could have won those games.
But Ryan,
Yeah,
they got nerfed.
it doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. I was ahead of the curve on that nerf because I was taking rapid methodical. I was
Yeah.
never taking durable. So and that came up in our play testing.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I
So
don't really think I need the durable. So that's why we pivoted to rapid. So I'm gonna say this team is, it's too easy to run. Really the only thing that's keeping its win rate down is the fact that, new players who are showing up to tournaments are running this team, because all you need is a handful of Space Marines and you're good to go. They have things in the game or they have things in the team that punish your opponent for playing the game. For example, the shoot on death ploy that they have, um, it can just be absolutely devastating. The way you can kit out their bolters to make them hyper lethal, and then just packing a plasma pistol on the sergeant. You've got the grenadier for the free grenades, uh, and they have a stupid amount of wounds. This team should not have as many wounds as it has. I'm gonna say that they're S tier because we don't have
I think they're
anybody
S
in
tier
S
too.
tier.
I was waiting for that. I think they're S tier, and I think it's like a lot of the other teams that were I think they're S tier before, and all the other teams that were S tier before got nerfed. And Legion Intercession, in my opinion, the nerf was like very.
It was a
I don't
nerf
want to
to
say,
the most common way that the team was being run, and it didn't do anything but just shift the way that people play the team.
and honestly, I still think Durable's good. Like I don't think the nerf
Yeah.
was even that significant. Like
Oh, okay.
you're not getting hit that often with multiple crits
Yeah.
anyway. Um, and there's not a lot of crits you're getting hit with that are damage 3 base, where the damage reduction like cap matters.
Right.
So most of the time, Durable's going to operate pretty much the same way. And that's just not a big deal.
Okay.
So I think they're S tier. They're ridiculous.
Cool. So, who do we got next? Oh, we've got the Navis Breachers.
Ooh, newly nerfed.
I still hate playing against this team though.
They're really good still.
Yeah, they are still really good. Definitely A.
Yeah.
At least. I
So
would say, yeah, you go
before we
ahead.
do this, I think can we revisit the vet guard discussion because
Sure.
A is getting crowded, and I was about to say I think vet guard is better than Navis Breachers right now,
Vetguard is
but I
better
think
than it.
Navis
Yeah, no,
Breachers,
I think you're right. Yeah.
and I think I would put Navis Breachers in A right below vet guard, but I'm
Okay.
starting to, I'm circling back,
Look,
man.
this is just you trying to bump your Legionnaires down a peg into top of B tier. I
No,
see
no,
what's
no.
going on.
Leave Legionnaires at an A,
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
For the love of God, can we just accept that vet guard is S tier? Can we just accept it?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just put him back. Put him up there.
Okay.
Come on. And then I would say, in my opinion, Navis Breachers are top of A because
Navis Breachers top A. Okay.
I think like a lot of the things that made them good are still there. Like Blitz
Yep.
isn't actually super duper affected by that nerf, especially
It's
if you're
really
using,
not, speaking from
yeah.
experience.
And like stims are still dumb.
Yep.
The damage reduction is still there. It's to a minimum now. So other teams can like kind of, they have a little counterplay. But like they still have a lot of heavy hitting weapons. They have decent offensive reliability. They've got some melee. They've got a ton of bodies with 8 wounds and 4 up saves. Like, I don't know. And the Grenadier got nerfed, but it's like most of the time that wasn't coming into play anyway. Like the double crack grenade,
Yep.
So I think they're pretty nasty.
All right. So next up, we've got here are your beloved Kroot, Shane.
Oh, my Kroot.
Yeah.
My Kroot that other people keep like winning like tournaments with, or like coming close to winning tournaments with, and I don't get it. No, like Kroot are weird because I think if you're not playing against an elite team, they're like A tier. But if you're, for me, in my experience, I cannot beat elites. Like if I run into like a competent player running an elite team, I can't. Like no matter what I do, I feel like I just get crushed. And it's like the most one-sided games I feel like I've played in forever are just me playing Varstalkers against any elite. Probably not Phobos. The Phobos playstyle doesn't really.
Yeah, they're an outlier.
Like I think Kroot is balanced right now. I'm gonna say if recover item gets nerfed, Kroot becomes mid in my eyes.
Okay.
Because because honestly, what's making Kroot work right now, in my opinion, it's a total gimmick.
Yeah,
and
it is.
It's based on scoring a recover item and maxing implant in both of those tac ops by the end of turn 2 and getting balance the books and then just holding out for dear life. And in my opinion, it's a gimmick. And if recover item gets nerfed, which it probably will, at some point, then I don't see what the team has really
Yeah.
that sticks out. So like I'd put them in like I don't even know if I think they're better than Commandos, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd probably put them above Phobos, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're balanced right now. For now. Like it's an unfortunate thing because I don't think Kroot is like too good at all, like when they have their when they're firing at all cylinders in the right matchup and like they're doing this play, but it's going to get nerfed because too many other teams that are already good use it a lot,
Yeah.
and they're going to suffer as a result when it goes away.
Okay. Next up here we have got the Elucidian Starstriders.
Ooh, nerfed.
Yep,
They got nerfed.
they got nerfed
Their nerfs were bigger than the Navis Breacher nerfs, in my opinion.
for sure.
And it's weird because I think this is calling it now. Nobody's playing this team for like 3 months.
Yeah.
They're gonna get the Hunter Clade like thing where Hunter Clade got nerfed and just everybody in the world just said we don't want to play
Okay.
this team anymore.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard to say for a long time if Starstriders are actually still good or not. I think they still have a pretty cool toolbox. I just think some of the more obscene things got toned back.
Yeah.
I think they're probably balanced. Like as a hot take, that could be wrong, but
Okay.
I don't like them more than Blooded. I'd put them above Pathfinders, but probably below Blooded.
Okay.
Does that sound right to you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you could have said put them below like the Infiltrators, and I would have been like, oh, yeah, I can see it. Like,
Oh man,
I
I don't
don't
know
know.
about that. They're still like they still have some decent tools. Like I think against elites they struggle a little bit now.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Which is like
It's weird.
50% of the meta, like we talked about, but
Yeah, they still have their space laser. That didn't get nerfed.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Next up, we've got the, oh my gosh, the Gellerpox Infected.
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean,
So
so
like
yeah, we've talked about this a little bit.
a lot of people are gonna say that this team is S tier, and it's like I totally get why people would say that. And I'm like, I almost want to agree, kind of, but like I don't know. I played them a lot after KTO, and they are not as autopilot as they look.
No.
And some people will make it out like they're the best team and like super broken. I don't think that. I think that the nerf is actually going to like show. Like at first, I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's not big, but playing them, they use those command points like really efficiently.
Okay.
They have a lot of tricks they can do with their command points, and they should be using them pretty frequently. So like having less, what's going to end up being like 1 or 2 less command points in a game, I think is going to be pretty significant. I don't know. A lot of people say they're better on open board than Into the Dark. I just disagree with that completely. I think that's insane. I know a lot of people think I'm actually starting to think I'm like in the minority here, thinking they're better on Into the Dark. But if they're S tier, they're bottom.
Bottom S tier, yeah.
Because they can feel really oppressive sometimes. But
okay.
And I think part of it too is people just don't know how to play against melee hordes. I think there's a lot of that, like where it's lagging behind a little bit.
What else have we talked about on this team is a melee horde?
On this tier list?
Yeah.
Nothing.
There's no other melee horde, so they're just like this outlier. Not only that, the boxes, like the supply of this kill team was extremely limited when it was released.
Yes.
And I don't know if I think it may have been shipped out like a second time, but not in a very big quantity. And yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen a whole lot of them. So I'm going to say like that the lack of like play against the team at the lower tables is a factor in this team's tournament placings and the availability of the models. So I would say
I think they're S. I'll give it S, but like bottom of S. I think there's like it's a little overstated by some people how good they are.
Yeah.
They're very good. they're
Yeah.
very, very good. But yeah, what do we got next?
We've got the Casterkin.
Ooh, the
Mm-hmm.
Buff Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So hey, I asked Brett of Six Sided Legion, the Castrican King, to hot take where he'd put them on a tier list
Yeah.
on the pod a couple weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and he said A tier.
All
I
right.
don't know if
Well,
I agree with that. Um, this
you
is
think
a
he's
guy that
too
thought
high or too low?
I used too high.
Okay.
Like he also didn't think that they needed to be buffed that much anyway.
Uh-huh.
So like as it turns out, when you're just ridiculously amazing with the team, you probably think they're stronger than other people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're perfectly balanced right now.
Okay.
But where would I put them? Oh man, I don't
I
know.
would definitely put them under Blooded.
Yeah, would I put them over or not Casterkin? Star Striders. Hmm,
Kind of
I don't think
remains to
so.
be seen. Yeah.
I think for now, how about we just put them below Pathfinders and call it a day?
Okay.
Man, actually, do you put them above Corsairs?
So the thing is, this team has dice fixing where the Corsairs do not.
Sure.
Okay.
I guess yeah, maybe.
Yeah. They're a little bit more reliable.
Casterkin are another team where it's like, God, they're so cool. They're so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love the team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put them there, like right
Okay.
in the middle, basically.
Cool. So next up we got the big
Uh-oh.
boys.
The Hyrotech
Yeah, we got
Overlords.
the Hyrotech Overlords. They're coming.
Oh,
They're coming for the meta. They want it
yes, they
all.
are.
They got all the buffs. Nobody knows how to play against them. It's the perfect time to strike if you've been playing Hyrotech Circle and try and make a deep tournament run right now. Um,
Yeah.
Man, I want to say I'm not going to say B tier. There's too many teams in B
Oh
tier.
no. I think they're better than B
It's
tier.
got to be A tier.
Yeah, I mean, they might be S tier. I'm not prepared to put them there,
No,
but
I
like,
don't think we have anything to go off of that where we can say, unless this
like
tier list is just like completely devoid of any like
yeah,
science.
I would like I could totally see us in 3 months looking back like, huh, we
How
didn't
did
think
we
they were
not
S
see
tier.
that coming?
Stupid.
The
Yeah.
thing is, I could totally see that happening. This team has gotten an
Yeah.
incredible amount of buffs. Like nobody knows how to play against them because nobody had to play against them.
Yeah.
Um.
I played against them the other day,
Uh-huh.
and it was somebody playing them for the first time, and I won on points, and I felt like I had killed like 12 Necrons throughout the game, and at the end, he still had 3 guys, and I was basically tabled.
Okay.
And it was like you have a big turn where like you kill a guy on turn 1, and then on turn 2 he fails reanimation, and then on turn 2 you kill 2 more guys, and it's like, oh, this is going amazingly. I've killed 3 guys, and then they all come back turn 3, and it's like, oh no, like I've made no progress, and they have like full health and they're not injured, and it's like, what the hell?
Great. I'm having
And they
flashbacks to the
score
last edition, dude.
they score so easily. They're, to me, they're top A tier above Breachers.
Okay.
They might be an S tier team. They might be the best team in the game. I don't know, but they're kind of an unknown quantity right now.
Yep.
But they're really good, that's for sure.
Cool. So going
Uh-oh.
from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows,
Oh boy.
I'm gonna put the cops at
Yeah.
D tier, kind of bad.
Yeah.
They literally have no play against
Elites.
against elites. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that automatically like takes you out of contention for any sort of like tournament, like high tournament placings, unless you're just an incredible player. And
They're so cool too. Like
yeah,
they have a unique play style, which I really like, and I hope
yes,
they can buff this team into a relevant spot.
yep,
And it's funny because before nothing changed with them with the data slate, but their stocks dropped because all the teams that were worse than them got way better.
yeah,
And now they're just sitting there like, this isn't cool.
yeah,
But like they have like their gunners hit on 4s. Like their only source of AP is the grenade launcher that hits on 4s, and they don't really have dice fixing unless they move within 6 inches of you.
yeah,
The shotguns are awesome, but against elites, it's not going to do a lot. They have the worst sniper in the game, bar none. Um, and my big thing with them is they have all these awesome ploys, but they have no way to like generate extra CP. So
Hmm.
like you don't actually get to use all the cool things that you have most of the time. And you're sitting there in the strategic phase, like, man, I want to use like 3 ploys, but I know if I do that, I'm hosing myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're kind of bad. Kind of bad. Then we have the last team. So spoiler alert, guys, the goats and the dwarves are not out yet. So
Yeah.
we're not going to rank them,
Yep.
but they're on there. So
So Hand of the Archon. I played around with this team a little bit, pretty much like right when they came out. I like the way they play. I like that you chose the disciple of Lindara, or whatever that the name of that model is, with the poison grenade, because that to you, I know, is the most annoying thing about playing against this team, and I love that ability. I think it's hilariously good.
it's so
Um,
good. It's the only thing about this team that gives me pause,
uh-huh,
like about how good they are.
uh-huh.
Everything else about the team seems pretty balanced,
Yeah, like
but that
I'm gonna
thing,
say like B tier, like high B tier at most. Not as high
yeah,
as Blooded, I don't think.
they're a little bit like Corsairs in the sense that
Yeah,
they can live and die by the dice. I think their dice fixing is a little more reliable than Corsairs because they can turn
it
good
literally
rolls
is. Yeah.
into great rolls, whereas Corsairs just take great rolls and make them a little better,
Hmm.
which is I think less valuable as a thing.
Yeah.
I think they're better than Kasrkin. Um, I think they're probably better than Pathies and Star Striders. I don't think they're better than Blooded.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Blooded are I think Blooded might be too good for this B tier.
A tier?
I don't know. Like, I don't know,
We
like
I mean like the thing is like I kind of like the look of the list right now, honestly.
yeah, me too. I think it feels pretty good.
Yeah. The only thing I wish we had was an F tier, so I could put, like, we talked before we started recording here, and Shane said to me that there is no team he thinks, like outside of the compendium, that warrants being placed into an F tier. I think Arbites can safely be placed in an F tier.
I
Genuinely.
don't know about that.
Genuinely.
I think against non-elites, I think that
They have play.
they're balanced against non-elites. Like they're
Yeah.
not good against them, but they're like it's a fair game.
Hmm.
It's just that like they're not there's nothing really unfair about playing against them and they struggle so hard into elites and it's like I don't know. I don't think they're horrible. I just think they're kind of bad. So that's me. I don't know.
But yeah.
And so I guess as a final thought, if we had to rank a couple of these compendium teams, we're not going to put them on the list, but we'll just
Ooh, a
for
bonus
the for,
round?
yeah. If you're still here
Okay.
listening, here's a little bonus round. Um, I would put Tyranids would be like C. They'd be mid.
Okay.
Um, I think Oster or Craft World would be like also mid.
Okay.
I think Imperial Guard would be B. I think Imperial
Yeah.
Guard's worse than Kasrkin now. Hot take.
I don't think that's a hot take. I was gonna say if I was to put them in B tier, I would put them in B tier, just below Kasrkin, just to make people angry, just to start, just to rile some people up.
Yeah.
Um,
Talons are, in my opinion, on Into the Dark, they're A or S, and
yep.
outside of Into the Dark, they're mid.
Okay.
Um, and that's like all that's worth mentioning. Everything else would be F tier
Yeah.
compared to these teams. So, unless I'm missing something, I don't think I am.
No. Um. Okay. So actually, how do you feel about Chaos Demons? I'm genuinely curious.
I would put them F tier if there was an F tier. It's just
Oh,
like,
okay.
because it's like,
That bad, huh?
it's like, I don't know. It's like when you compare it's not even like they don't like feel horrible, but it's like you compare them to the bespoke teams and yeah, I'd put them F tier there.
Okay.
Um, but I think this is a pretty balanced game we have. So,
Yeah, I think so too.
um, it's tough to say. Like, I don't know. Like Necrons definitely would be F tier or Tomb World, I guess, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Literally
Any of the Space Marine
every
variants.
team on this list, with the exception of Imperial Guard, that has a like a bespoke team equivalent, like we would just shove it into F tier.
Yeah,
All
pretty
all
much.
the Space Marines and Death Watch, with the exception of Scouts. I don't know where I would put Scouts. Probably
Yeah,
mid.
scouts are so man. Scouts are so fun.
Yeah.
They're cool. But yeah, I mean, who knows how these new teams too are gonna blow the meta open or don't? Who
Or
knows?
not. Yeah.
Yeah, they could just come in and be mid, or you know, maybe one of them's really good. The last few boxes, each box has had at least one team that's good this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Into Dark, it was Breachers. It's actually, I just realized what I said was completely false because Soul Shackle had two pretty bad teams on release.
Yeah.
But then we had the last one, Shadow Vaults, which Archon, solid, and
Archon's a
then
solid team.
Exaction bad. So I guess if anything, each release has had at least one team that was just straight up bad.
Yeah, so
On release, Farstalkers were pretty bad. Both the Soul Shackle teams pretty bad.
yeah.
Exaction Squad pretty bad. So I mean, odds are one of these teams is going to suck. Which one is it?
Don't say that. Um oh man.
I hope it's not the Beastmen. I want the Beastmen to be good so bad.
I mean, like, there was so much like Votann hate um when that team released in 40K, and it's been so long since that happened that I think it could go
Yeah.
either way with the Votann. They could either
Who
be
knows?
really, really good, or all of that like malice could have carried over into Kill Team, and GW was just like, all right, we're gonna come out with this Votann team, but they cannot absolutely be like meta defining. Do not give
That
them any good tools to succeed. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So that concludes our tier list, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and listening. If you stumbled upon the channel and you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It helps us out a lot. And if you're already subscribed and loving everything, consider looking us over at patreon.com/command point, or checking out our merch that I talked about in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
or our YouTube membership program, because that's a thing as well.
Yeah.
So any closing thoughts, Ryan?
No, not really. Kill Team, pretty balanced game. Pretty balanced game
Very
right
good.
now, and I'm really enjoying this meta.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a good one.
See ya.